guys, I am Chris Kaler.
And I'm Amber from Kyuujin Cosplay, and today we are back with you guys with To Your Eternity. Finale of season 1, so episode 20.
The last episode, we don't really know what it's gonna be about because last episode felt like a finale. It was the end.
Sure did.
It was the end of the Jananda arc, basically. Tonari is still alive! Woo! But the girl from Yanome was also alive last time we saw her, sort of. She's been, well, we think she's been possessed by a knocker. She was screaming in the end, but there's a chance the knocker's gonna try to learn from her.
I do believe that the knocker's gonna keep her alive to learn from her.
Because, I mean, during the attack on the island, she was saying, like, the knocker was trying to take her over, and she was saying, like, you need to do things more intelligently. Like, you need to do things like I did. Be nice to Fushi, and he's gonna let you in, and then you can, you know,
then you can grab him,
Yeah, and the knocker listens, so we're thinking that that's not the end of her.
Nope.
But still, it was a good send-off because Fushi was saying, like, what do you want? And she's saying, I want to be with you. Just kill me so I can become a part of you. And he's like, fuck you, girl.
Kill me. I'm going to be part of you and teach you love. Not this kind of love, please.
No,
not this kind.
But Fushi was like, if you die, I won't care. So you're not going to become a part of me. So basically, he took her dream and made it into nothing.
Yeah.
So that's good. Then he left, and I'm guessing he's gonna join with Pioran, and Tonari and the kid that survived stayed on the island. They are gonna try and change things. People there deserve a chance, and they're gonna try to make it about hope instead of killing. They're using the attack, you know, and saying, oh, you see what happens when we leave a bunch of corpses? They turn on us and become zombies. So let's not kill anyone. And try to survive together. So that's good. Making her friend's sacrifice worth it.
Purify the place.
And by proxy, she's kind of admitting that she's not scum and she's not, you know, unworthy of love. And neither are the people on the island either. So that was a pretty good ending for Tonari, and I'm just happy she's alive. So yeah, this is the last episode, and we do know there's going to be a season 2. I think I read about that online. We just don't know when it's going to come out. So I mean, let's just watch this finale and see how they end things. And then when season 2 comes up, we'll check that.
Let's go.
Let's go. That kid would have grown up to be a hottie. No, it's a joke. Well, not more or less, but
so.
But then that means he's killing knockers without changing himself. Like, he learned how to fight those shits.
Well, it's been several decades.
I know. I mean, he definitely changed in those decades because, like, he would have been much older.
Okay, he was 14 with his body, right?
Yeah, the body looked...
Like,
well, no, mentally he was 14, but the body was also more or less 14.
Yeah. Right now, I'm gonna say it looks like he's in mid-20s or something, or maybe early 30s, max.
Yeah, so like he changed in between, but I'm excited to see like his personality next season. Like I don't know, he's laughing, he's more casual. I don't know.
Was he alone all this time?
It looks like he's been alone all this time.
What happened to his mentality then?
Well, that's what I just said. I want to know how it affected him.
Because, yeah, you said that.
I mean, he maybe met people, but he's obviously, like, as far as we know, we don't know anything. He could go back home and have people there, but I don't think I think if there was something to say, like, if he had met other people, he would have said it. And instead he said there's nothing else to say about Fushi for several decades. So he found a spot, and he just lived his life and learned how to fight and learn how to live.
Because he learned about that. He knew about sacrifice. He was in denial about the fact that us humans are not immortal and someday we will die.
Yeah.
And he lost one of his friends due to natural causes.
But then he also learned something from her. Like, he learned something from everyone. He learned, you know, from Pioran, he learned that in life, you know, you got to do what you want. You got to aim for your goals. You know, what's your dream? Go for it like I did. There's no regret, you know. You cannot spend your life wishing you were somewhere else. You need to go to that place. For him, you know, he wanted to be with Pioran, and he kept pushing her away because he was like, I killed those other friends. But then he didn't want to be alone, so he went for it. And yes, he lost Pioran, but that's part of life. She died of old age. And that, by the way, that's just so real and so sad. The whole way it happened too, you know, because that's what happens to some people. You know, you grow old, and so yeah, you start forgetting stuff, and sometimes you become senile. Sometimes you have Alzheimer and stuff. Sometimes you turn into someone that, you know, the people that knew you in later in life, they don't recognize you. And for Fushi, kind of went through that. You know, she was no longer a person that perhaps was fun to be around, but since he had a strong bond with her, he felt he owed her to stick with her, and he loved her, so he needed to take care of her and stuff. So that's a hardship, that's an obstacle of life that he went through, and then she died of natural causes, but she still, I mean, I say that with the air quotes, because she kind of asked for it, and she kind of made it into something that wasn't natural. Like, when you normally die, you don't ask for the creator to, you know?
But speaking of that, did our soul become an orb?
Well, I was wondering what was going on, but then, like, in my opinion, what happened is that she wanted to, because Fushi was going to be able to transform into her. And I thought that, you know, the way I understood the scene is she didn't want him to have an old woman that's seen, you know, that doesn't think clearly half the time, and that can't be useful against the knockers or anything. So when she died, she said, get my soul. Basically, he said, when you die, I'm going to get your soul before it reaches paradise. And he turned it into the younger version of herself, and that's what he took and put in the orb, which I think is Fushi. Fushi is the orb. So basically, he connects the souls to Fushi, and he changed her soul before he connected it to him. So if he transforms into her, I'm guessing he can transform into the younger version of her.
We'll see in season 2.
That's how I took it. It did, you know, confuse me a little bit when he brought out an orb and stuff, and she started aging again, and I was like, but the whole point was for you to be young, so why are you getting old here? And then, you know, for a second I also thought, you know, when did she write that message before he threw it in the fire? Like, was that the thing he added and stuff? And then I was like, that would make no sense. But it would make sense for her to be like, change my soul so that whenever he transforms into me, he gets to have a form that is helpful in his fight. And not, you know, an old woman that cannot do much. Not that Pioran couldn't do anything. She was clearly capable of taking care of herself. But
she could swing that bad.
That was in the beginning, though. You know, I'm guessing some time passed between when they reconnected and then when she died. And by the time she died, she was falling from the donkey all the time, and, you know, she was forgetting a lot. And when Fushi...
Mood swings, yeah.
And that's the thing, like, even Fushi was saying, one of the rules I have to follow is I do not transform into just any type of animal, because for some of the animals, like the... What's it called in English?
A leash.
The leech, yeah. Well, he wouldn't transform into a leech, because when he's the leech, he's like not like, he doesn't have the mental capacity to understand what's happening. So that's dangerous for him if the knockers show up. So I would assume if he were to transform into Pioran, he would also have to deal perhaps with the same issues that she was going through.
Yeah.
Still, for all our talks of, you know, people die eventually, like, it's not something you can prevent. It's not nice, but it's kind of good that he went through his first death by natural causes. So I did cry, and I was really sad, and the music didn't help. The music is beautiful in this show. Yeah. At the beginning of it all, that's the main reason why I wanted to react to Your Eternity. It's the music. Because of the music? Yeah. I said it before in episode 1, but I'll say it this time too. Before I knew what the show was about, I found a video on YouTube that said, you know, the best OST I've heard this year and stuff like that. So I clicked on it, and it was a compilation with a photo of, well, Fushi, and as, you know, the blonde, the white-haired kid, and the dog. And, well, so I'm guessing it was Fushi as the dog and the kid. And then it was a compilation of soundtracks and stuff, and I just listened to the music, and I was like, wow. It's such good music! I need to watch this show! And then you told me, well, I had my eye on this show too because it looks good.
Because of the graphics, yeah.
And it does, I mean, it is beautiful. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't ready for that amount of heartbreak and then that amount of morality and then just discussions about death, but it makes sense considering where the show came from and why it was written. But yeah, I mean, a compilation of good writing, good visuals, and good music. I was losing it. I'm like, I did not prepare. I mean, and I should have, because Pioran is old. But then I wasn't expecting it to happen in the last episode.
That is the most natural thing that could happen in that show.
I love that they basically say, hey, you thought Tonari was gonna die, huh? Let's kill Pioran. They tricked us, but it was good. Visually, it was also really cool how they did the smoke thing and stuff.
Well, I expect her to just be dead.
She wasn't dead right away. But we still understand what it means.
The meaning behind it, yeah.
Yeah.
We also saw the girl from Yanome.
She's still alive.
She was there, and from what I saw, I think that I was right with the fact that maybe
it's still her in there.
It's still her with the knockers inside.
Yeah. I mean, she's healing from a wound, so I don't know what she's gonna do. I don't know if she's gonna
eating
gain.
people, I guess.
It looks like she's eating people. I don't know, but yeah, she's definitely, that answers that question. She's gonna be back.
Ugh.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say about this episode because it's a lot of the same, especially with Fushi. It's a lot about what we said last episode and a few episodes back when he was also wondering if he could stay with Pioran or not. Death being a part of life, and you gotta accept that everyone dies, and for some of them, you know, they chose how they were gonna die because they made those decisions, and that's kind of what Pioran is teaching him in the end. You gotta aim for those goals that you have, and you know, you live the consequences, but at least you lived life to the fullest, and that's what she did. So it's a good lesson, and I am excited to see this older Fushi because physically changed, but in the few seconds we saw him, his personality seemed a lot more like laid back, casual, like this is my life now. I'm wondering how that, because I mean, he's gonna be like a 20-year-old mentally, I'm guessing. So
I don't know. It's been several decades. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Decades doesn't mean shit. Mentally, he was a 14-year-old. So we were in a shonen basically. Now we're gonna age up to seinen. So he's gonna be an adult mentally, perhaps. So I'm excited to see how his personality changed and how that affects everything.
Yeah, but I'm kind of more scared of the fact that, like I said, we don't know if he was alone all those times.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing he didn't meet anyone that had an impact, because otherwise that would have been part of his story. So, and it looks like he didn't change environment. So he perhaps stayed in that spot. And he's fighting, like he's no longer running away from the knockers, it looks like he's fighting them now. So he's not following all those rules anymore. But it doesn't look like he changed spots. And there's there's no one around here. Like he can sustain himself. He can, you know, eat and sleep and fight knockers on his own just fine. And I mean, it also means that the bitch from Yanome never found him in all those decades. So I don't think he traveled much, and if he met people, it was just like, oh, hi, how are you doing? Like, do you want to trade stuff? Moving on. He never made a connection, because otherwise it would have been part of the story.
All right.
So, do not know when season 2 is coming out. It's gonna be, it could be a while.
It's supposed to be in fall, maybe?
I don't know.
Next year?
No, I don't know. We're gonna keep an eye out for this, because we are gonna be watching season 2 when it comes out, and
with an older Fushi.
It's gonna be different, but I am, you know, I'm pleased with how season 1 went. I do cry a lot in reactions. Like it's not new or anything, but this show did make me cry more than I would have expected. Such a short show to make me cry. Like usually I would cry in the finale, but they got me like 3 times in this show. So yeah, I think I have high hopes for season 2. And
that means that Tonari is gonna be an old lady now.
Eventually but that's the thing, like eventually the people that we met that are still alive, they're gonna die, and then Fushi's gonna gain that, you know.
Oh.
But that's life. That's the thing.
I know that's life.
But then we talked about...
That is not a bad thing. It's a sad but not a bad thing.
The thing is, we did talk about how eventually his immortality was gonna affect him, because with Fushi, there's no end in sight. he doesn't really know, like, he's wondering if one day he'll be like Pioran, you know, an old person who looks back on life and he's like, oh, I've been through all this shit and stuff, and now I can appreciate my path and what I've been through, and I understand everything. Like, mentally, yes, he'll probably have that state of mind, but he'll never grow, or at least he could allow his body to grow old, but can he die from this? I don't know. What are the rules with Fushi? We still don't really know. Because if he allows his body to age and the body dies of old age, does he die?
Well, maybe he's gonna restart everything.
Maybe. But well, that would be the thing. If he dies of old age, then he's just gonna... Like, when he dies, he just regenerates.
True.
So, yeah.
There's no end to it.
We did talk about how his immortality was eventually gonna affect him. But now, I mean, he's spent several decades alone, it looks like. So, I don't know. I'm excited for season 2. Okay, so do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm done with it.
Yeah, season 1, you liked it?
Yeah, it was interesting. We talk about that a lot of time in that show.
That's the main subject. Okay, so that's it for the finale of this season. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this with us. We don't really have a plan for a show after this, but we have a list long like my arm about, you know, about
long,
of
like,
shows
like
long
this,
like this of shows that we want to do. So I mean, stay tuned for the one we decide to do next, and hopefully you guys will be into that.
Keep an eye out for season 2, guys.
Keep an eye out for season 2. Exactly. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching this with us. Bye.
Bye.